What is going on, gunfighters? Welcome to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about gunfighting the right way with God at the center. God is number one, period. I hope that He stays number one in everything that I do, and this podcast is no different. I don't apologize for that. Today, as I'm recording this is Thursday, let's call this a Throwback Thursday episode as I am driving in the car. Now, an episode came out today about an older, more obscure cartridge. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. So I thought I'd put out another on more modern cartridges, but maybe in a way that you probably don't expect. So I'll do a quick bio. By quick, I mean vastly abbreviated from the normal bio. First and foremost, I am a Christian, a servant of God, a follower of Jesus Christ. After that, God has blessed me to do many wonderful things. Marine Corps combat veteran and urban warfare instructor, also served in the U.S. Army. Also, FBI certified firearms instructor. I was LAPD, so law enforcement background. State rifle and pistol champion a few times over. Professional hunter and guide. Okay, abbreviated bio, done. If you want to support the podcast, check us out. GoodShepherdTraining.com. GoodShepherdTraining.com. Scroll down, at least hit some stars on Spotify or iTunes if you're listening that way. So, let's get into the hot new cartridges. We talked about some older, more obscure ones recently. Let's talk about the hot new cartridges. And I'll kind of tie this in hopefully at the end. But hot new cartridges right now. The 30 Super Carry. The 30 Super Carry. It is the next latest and greatest in concealed carry handgun ammunition. Or at least that's how it's marketed. Revolutionary. Gives you just a smidge under 9mm ballistics with greater capacity. Don't worry about the significantly higher cost or the, I should say, inability to find ammo. It's so much better, they would have you believe it in the marketing, than whatever else, than 380, than 9mm. I think here is the goal. They want to give, and these what have recently become popular, subcompact 9mm, or traditionally chambered in 380, those super subcompact style guns. The SIG 365 comes to mind. Guns in that vein, and not just that gun. Guns in that vein, probably the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, to give you one or two more rounds. Now, I'm not anti-high capacity. I literally right now am carrying a SIG 226, and I have a 20-round magazine as my spare magazine on my side. I'm not anti-capacity. But all the engineering and everything going into this round to give you one or two more rounds in a magazine in a cartridge is going to be significantly more expensive, I believe, for you to get, because let's not forget, if you can't just drive to the store and get it, if you have to do more, pay for shipping or whatever, that's added into the cost as well. And you probably have way less options in carry ammo, and all the research and everything that's gone into developing good loads and short barrels and everything for the 9mm. So you're giving up all that. You're giving up the ease and availability, and as much as anything can be today with inflation and everything else, fairly affordable ammo as far as ammo goes, the 9mm, all that for one or two more rounds. And that is the 30 Super Carry. Like I said, roughly a smidge under regular 9mm ammo and a little bit above 380. both cartridges that have been around a long, long time. And they have been serving well for, at least a 9mm, well over 100 years. But now the 30 Super carries out, so there's that. Let's talk about the next one. It is so hot right now. So hot right now. It's like Hansel from the movie Zoolander. The 277 Furry. It even sounds hot. The 277 Furry. Now this is a revolutionary round. It basically takes the 308 and gives you a 270 caliber projectile. I wonder why nobody thought of this earlier. Oh, they did think of it earlier. They thought of it in the 270 Winchester a long, long time ago. And then if you wanted it in a short action, they thought of it in the guise of the 270 WSM Winchester short mag quite a while ago. But now, you don't have to worry about those because the 277 Furry is out. And it has a case with a steel base on it so that you can load to much higher pressures, so that you can give that bullet a great deal of velocity out of a 16-inch barrel. Great. If you are using a 16-inch barrel. So I'll ask you this question. If you hunt, do you hunt with a 16-inch barrel? Because if not, that may be null. Now, to be fair, you may get much greater velocities if you're putting this in, let's say, a traditional hunting rifle with a 24-inch barrel. I don't know. It's so new I haven't seen the ballistics on that. Now, the regular, I would say regular ammo, the ammo that the military is going to train with is going to be just regular brass case ammo from what I understand. And they're going to save the much higher pressure, higher velocity round for combat. Now, I see a bit of logistical challenge in that. You think that military guys, especially like military NCOs and the infantry, are super gung-ho gun guys and ballistics nerds, but I have been that. I was an NCO in the United States Marine Corps and in the U.S. Army. I was a sergeant. And you can't tell me that because I've lived in that world, and most of those guys, sadly, are not gun guys. They may have grown up in New York City, and the only gun they ever handled was the one the Army gave them. And the fact that they may or may not know the difference between the hot ammo and the basic ammo, and whether or not they know to switch their dope and everything else. And the new optic does seem pretty cool. I haven't really played with one. I don't know anybody that has. But I see a lot of logistical challenges there. Let me back up. Did I ever think that the 5.56 was a great round? No, I never fell in love with it. I grew up as a gun guy. I grew up hunting and shooting at a very early age. Started competition shooting even before I joined the Marine Corps. And the first time I shot, growing up shooting, the first time I shot, an M16, I remember getting the impression that it wasn't really a gun. It was kind of weak in my opinion, and that was from a poor boy from the South. It never was my cup of tea. And there's a lot of people that put a lot into this, and I don't want to degrade that, but I don't think I would have went the 277 Furry route. If you've listened long enough, you know that I had a round that I talked about a while ago that I would have chosen. That is not the 277 Furry nor the 5.56. But that's outside of today's episode. But the 277 Furry, I guess, is better than the 308 for some things. But remember, we already had the 308 and got away from it. And now we're kind of going back to it. And again, I don't think that the 5.56 was ever the best choice. So I guess the main thing I'm trying to get across today in this episode is these new hot rounds that come out every single year. This year, the 30 Super Carry, or I guess maybe it was last year, the 30 Super Carry, and now the 277 Furry, are they better for you? Because every year you get tons of new cartridges that come out that are the new next hotness, the new hot thing. But many of them fade away, because are they really any better at the end of the day for what you're doing? Like I said, that 277 Furry operates, I believe, at 80,000 PSI, which is screaming. That's a lot of pressure. A lot of engineering and a whole new case design had to go into that. That's pretty cool, I got to admit. But are you running a gun with an 18-inch with a 16-inch barrel? Because if not, does that even matter to you? Again, going back to a few cartridges, I remember, and I've been in the gun world a long time, these cartridges come out all the time. How about the 32 H&R Magnum? I remember when that was going to be the next hot carry round. I remember when the 32 H&R Mag, they were chambering Smith & Wesson J-frames in it, and it was the cool kid round to have. Now, that's an obscurity that you might find on Gunbroker if you collect Smith & Wesson J-frames, and that wasn't that long ago. I remember when the 243 WSSM Winchester Super Short Magnum, I remember that whole Super Short Magnum craze, and I think they were really cool rounds. In fact, I really, really liked the 223 WSSM. I think it's an awesome cartridge that they marketed wrong. But even so, try and go to your big box store and get ammo for that right now. Or try and find a rifle chambered in it right now. And that was going to be the next new hot round that you had to have. And where is it today? Is this where 30 Super Carry, is going to be in 2 years? I think probably. It'll be some obscure thing that some really niche gun guys really like, that kind of stuff, and it'll be their niche thing. But I don't see it taking the market by storm. I really don't. So don't fall into the fear of missing out. And as much as I like guns and gun marketing and cartridges and things, don't fall victim to this thing thinking that just because the 30 Super Carry is out, somehow now your 380 is obsolete or your 9mm is obsolete. The 9mm is far from obsolete. And I would not, let me put it this way. If you were going to give me a gun today and you put a 365 on the table in 9mm or 30 Super Carry, without hesitation, without even kind of maybe, I would take the one in 9mm. If you offered me the 30 Super Carry with 500 rounds of 30 Super Carry in good hollow point ammunition, I'd still take the one in 9mm. Unless maybe I was going to just sell it and then buy something I actually wanted. But assuming that I couldn't sell the stuff, I had to keep it, I would take the one in 9mm. I would take it in 9mm because I still think it's a better choice. It's a better option. Because where is that 30 Super Carry going to be in 2 years? I'm not the guy that runs out and buys the next new hot gun or next new hot thing when it comes out. I got burned by that before. Who remembers when the new hot carry gun was going to be the Remington R51? Yeah, some of you may have never even heard of that gun. It was going to be the next new thing. Remington's getting into the handgun game. They're coming out with their 1911. Remington's also coming out with the Remington R51. Super sleek, really cool, like 1950s kind of look to it. It's slim, different operating system. It's going to be awesome. Well, I bought one. Guess what? It wasn't awesome. And I sold it. Again, if I was a collector, maybe I would have just thrown it in the closet, but I'm not a collector. This is not gun collector life, it's gun fighter life. But I remember when that was going to be the next hot thing. That wasn't. And that may have been hopefully the last time I have to learn. Don't buy something when it first comes out. If it's really that good, if it really is revolutionary, it will be around in 3 or 4 years, and it will be established, and they'll get the bugs worked out of it. Most new guns, when they come out, have issues. The 320 had issues. I believe the 365, when it came out, had issues. I could be wrong about that. But a lot of guns, when they first come out, have issues, and they work those out over time. Don't be the beta tester when your life's on the line in a gunfight. That's not cool. I hope you appreciate that this podcast, most other gun YouTubers and stuff like that, they get sponsors, which I would consider a bribe. They get people paying them to say how good a new product is. I don't do that. If you appreciate that and the honesty, you can support on Patreon. Go to goodshepherdtraining.com and become a supporter. But anyway, I don't do that here. That's garbage. I don't want to do that. I don't care who it is, even if it's a company that I really like. Because if they come out with a new product that sucks, I want to be able to be honest and tell you about that. Again, so if you appreciate that, goodshepherdtraining.com. Anyway, guys, don't fall victim. Don't be a beta tester in a gunfight. Don't put your life on the line because somebody tells you the next new hot thing. If you don't get it, you're going to miss out. So why I don't get super excited about the 30 Super Carry or the 277 Fury. I'm not, well, right now I'm trying to do the podcast full time, so I'm literally selling gun stuff on eBay and trying to sell actual firearms to fund it. So I'm not in the position right now where I'm buying guns, but even if I was, I wouldn't be looking for a 277 Fury. I just wouldn't. If you want to, if you're like a gun guy, if you think it's going to become a niche thing, the 30 Super Carry, and you want one for collecting, that's fine. But I have a feeling that's going to fall into obscurity. The only cartridge I can think of in recent times that really has, and I still think it as a new cartridge, even though it's probably been around more than a decade, is the 6.5 Creedmoor. And I only got that because there was a rifle I really, really wanted. And I could only find it in 6.5 Creedmoor. And the Creedmoor at that time had been around a few years, and it was pretty clear that it wasn't going to be an obscure cartridge. It was going to stick around. It might not be as big as 308, but it wasn't going to be, 243 WSSM. It was going to be around. So I bought the rifle in it. It's a good cartridge. It really is. That's the only one I can think of in recent times that hasn't really fallen victim to this. Now, I will say, if the military does continue to go through with its adoption of 277 Fury, that also will be around, because any cartridge that the military adopts will generally still be around. I mean, you can still buy factory-loaded 3040 Krag, I believe, and the military, dropped out like it was hot. But you can still, I believe, find factory-loaded 3040 Krag. You can still buy factory-loaded 4570, which is kind of astounding. But you still can. So anything the military adopts, I think that will ensure that you can at least get it. So the 277 Fury may be different, but I would still, my advice, wait a few years. My general rule of thumb is 3 years before you go jumping on the bandwagon, to make sure that bandwagon is not a jalopy and just break down in the middle of the road. Is it cool? Yes. Am I happy that the Army is going to a new service rifle? I am, actually. I was an infantryman, primary MOS, in the U.S. Marine Corps as an assaultman, specialized infantry, and that MOS no longer exists. But anyway, specialized infantry. And then in the Army, my primary MOS, 11 Bravo, infantry. And I was also, cavalry. Anyway, I am excited about that. And I do think that we needed something better than 5.56. Even so, I wouldn't get too excited for now about the 277 Fury. Wait till they get the kinks worked out of it. Wait till it's not prohibitively expensive. And wait till they start making more stuff in it. The thing about, sadly, the gun community is we tend to be pretty fickle as a whole. So wait until it's not the hot thing. And then you can probably find it cheaper and more affordably with the kinks worked out of it. Again, this is Gunfighter Life. This is not the next hot gun of the week podcast. If you want that, you can find plenty of that. Ton of the guys that are on different platforms, that's all they get excited about is the next new hot thing that they get for free or get kickbacks on or whatever. Not here. I want to give you the honest dope, the honest information on shooting and gunfighting. I'm not saying those cartridges are bad. I'm just saying take them with a grain of salt. Take them as they are, for what they are. Don't fall victim to marketing. Think about if the thing is better for you. Oh, the 277 has better ballistic coefficient. It bucks the wind better at 500 yards. Cool. Do you shoot at 500 yards? Do you live east of the Mississippi? Do you even have a range where you can go practice at 500 yards? Do you have all the crazy computer stuff that lets you, one, get the distance right at that thing, get the wind right, get your dope right? Because if not, the fact that it has a couple of inches better at bucking the wind at 500 yards over the 308 is kind of irrelevant to you. Again, might it be better on paper? Yes, I will concede that. Is it better for you? Probably not, unless you do that. If you are an actual long-range shooter, if you are going out and practicing routinely at 1,000 yards, yeah, it probably is better. But if that's not you, why do you care? Why do you care that bullet has slightly better BC than the 308 that your grandfather hunted with? Because to you, it's kind of a moot point. The information can be true, yet irrelevant. Last I heard, 5 people died from monkeypox. Is that information true? Let's take it at face value. Let's say it is true. Is it relevant to me? I'm not super worried about it. You could do that with anything in life, not just guns. All the marketing, all the shiny, trinkets of Babylon. Some of them are useful. Some of them are useful tools. Some of them are just marketing to get you to spend money on stuff that is no better. I think the point has come across, and I'm not just going to keep talking for the sake of making the episode, let's say 30 minutes. I'm just going to post the episode. I'll give you the tactical tip of the day and the tactical verse of the day. This one's not even going to be about guns or hunting, but a lot of you out there that are into guns and hunting are likely into fishing. I have been blessed to be in a very good area for fishing. If you don't know, I've recently quit my full-time job as a general manager to do the podcasts. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. If you do, go to goodshepherdtraining.com. Anyway, I'm in a good area for fishing, world famous actually. So I've been blessed to do quite a bit of fishing, hopefully to supplement. My wife and I have been out going foraging to get food, to help supplement the food cost, and just because we like it and it's good for survival. I've also been doing the fishing thing to supplement. I grew up fishing. I love fishing. This is a fishing tip. Just like we talked about marketing things you need and don't need, if you want to keep your fish fresh, especially in hot weather, when I'm recording this, it's hot in much of the country. If you want to preserve your fish, you don't need any kind of fancy thing. You don't need a cooler with ice. You don't need anything like that. You need a stick. That's it. You need a stick. Take your fish when you catch it. Every fish that I would eat that I'm aware of has a mouth and gills. You take the stick, appropriately sized so the fish can't get away for whatever kind of fish you're catching. Probably a bigger one for a sockeye salmon than a bluegill. But you take the stick, you run it through the fish's mouth and out its gill, just like if it were to swallow it and come out its gill, and you shove that into the mud or the sand or whatever substrata you are fishing on. And you shove that stick in there. You shove it into the earth. You leave the fish in the water. You can do this with one stick with multiple fish, or just put a different new stick with every fish. You stick them in the mud, and then when you're done fishing, the fish should still be alive unless you really, really caught them nasty and tore up their mouth or something like that, tore up their gills. But in most cases, that fish should still be alive, and when you're ready to leave, then you take the fish out. Again, all you need, a stick. Pretty simple. That's your tactical tip of the day. The tactical verse of the day is going to be a short one. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. That's it. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Whatever kind of food you're eating, whether you get it from Walmart or out of a stream or you shoot it off a mountain, don't forget what's more important, the one that blesses you with the food. What do you have that you did not first receive? You only exist because God created you. You didn't create yourself. God created you. He made you. You only exist because He allows it. You only draw another breath because He allows it. And you only have sustenance, food, because He gives it to you. If you're saying, I work for it, no. You were created, you work because God gives you breath, and you work because God allows it and blesses you with the means to buy food. However you get that food, it is a blessing from God. More important than the food is the blessor, the creator, and the Savior, Jesus Christ. Don't forget that. With that, I want to say thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.